TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, baby, higher.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for Tea Time Wages with good friend, colleague, Mr. Brady Kannon. East Lake Golf Club FEDEX Championship. This is it. I was talking to Brady in November, December. I'm going down memory lane here. And next thing you know, we're talking Magnolia Lane, Augusta, and the PGA, the U.S. Open, the Open. And now we're here. Just $25 million at stake. Hey, I guess that would be a game changer right there. Scottie Scheffler on the lid with the two-shot lead. Does X mark the spot? Brady's been talking for weeks. I don't like to say it this way, but Xander owns this course, and this guy is lathered up. He's ready. Just a two-shot lead. Hideki Matsuyama back. Oberg. Rory 6 back, but we will get all into this in a few seconds. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships, WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It's free. Travis, Zach, myself, the rest of this team and community will take great care of you, I promise. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Shout out to CT Betts. I was texting with him today. We're going to have coconut on hand on Cape Cod, hopefully today, if not today, tomorrow. So head on over to where you drink adult beverages. And if they don't have Viva, just ask why. And our newest partnership and sponsor, Atlanta Steak and Seafood. Terry Smith, you've heard of Omaha. I guarantee you, by the time you're done with ECSI, Atlanta Steak and Seafood will be above Omaha. Trust me, best customer service in the world. Go find Terry Smith at Atlanta Steak and Seafood. Shout out to the two producers in the house, Mr. Noah Frank and Mr. Elijah. I hope I haven't scared Elijah. I got all the faith in the world. You got the best guy right next to you. Nothing but smooth sailing from here. So without further ado, the star of this show, Mr. Brady Kannon.
I tell you what, Jeff, great to be back with you. You got my mouth watering here. You've got a buffet going, okay? We sit down, we have the Atlanta steak, we've got the Viva Tequila Seltzer, as a beverage, and we're looking at WagerWire to see what's going on, in the sports betting world. I could sit down and just, be right at home with all your sponsors. It reminds me, I'm hoping that Viva Tequila Seltzer is sold out here in Las Vegas. I imagine it probably is. My daughter's coming into town, and she's a big tequila fan. So after the show, I'm going to run to the store and see if they've got any Viva, because I want to try this stuff too. And I might have to hit you up to send me out a case or something. Mr. CT Betts, take care of Mr. Kannon.
I think we can work on something like that. 100%, sir.
Also, being in Atlanta, nice that good timing there with your new sponsor, Atlanta Steak and Seafood. We're in Atlanta, East Lake Golf Club for the Tour Championship. So, a little cohesion there, if you will.
Destiny. How about destiny, right?
Okay, let's take it a step further. It's not cohesion, it's destiny. Fate.
I go back to last week, and Brady, I've been talking all year. Oberg comes onto the scene at the Masters, and we knew he was good from the year before, and until the 10th hole on Sunday, which he still dropped it in the drink, but he still finished strong, and he was the kid to look out for. And I'm just saying this out loud. After the knee issue, he's had numerous opportunities to close out the deal and hasn't been able to. And I equate last Sunday to horse racing, where you get a horse all hot and bothered and lathered up, and you got him positioned. You couldn't have asked for a better position where he was sitting going into Sunday, and hits the first turn, hits the second turn, and now you're in the back stretch where he's supposed to fight. There was no firing from Oberg on Sunday.
It still bothers me. I thought he just nailed that shot on the par 5, a hole that he had eagled twice in a row on the 2 days prior. He bangs a drive out there, 430 yards in that elevation, in that thin air. He's got a 6-iron in, and he dunks it in the water. And he was posing. I mean, it looked like he nailed it. Not necessarily for you and I is it hard to put a 6-iron in the water, but it should be for Ludwig Oberg, the 4th best player in the world. And yeah, I mean, he just birdied the hole he wasn't supposed to with a bomb of a putt, a 42-foot putt on the hole before. And I said, okay, here we go. Now he's, coming onto a par 5 that he's eagled both the past 2 days in a row, figuring birdie at worst, and he's tied for the lead. Didn't turn out that way. So, anyway, but yeah, the guy's exceptional. He's become really maybe my favorite player. I just love watching him play. He's got so much talent. He's obviously going to grow up and learn from these mistakes, and he's going to do plenty of winning, I'm sure. But I just love what he plays quickly. He plays beautifully. He's really a treat to watch, and I'm looking forward to catching him in the coming season in 2025. A lot of people have landed on him here this week. This is, it's a tough thing, Jeff, and I sent you the article. I wrote about it. I love these playoffs. You go back to the Wyndham when guys are trying to get into the playoffs, and that's a fun event. That's a fun atmosphere. Then you get to the playoffs and you have TPC Southwind, a really good course that the players love and is a really good test, and they're trying to get into the top 50. And then we go to 6,300 feet in elevation, and guys are hitting at 500 yards, and things are weird, and the golf course is just absolutely exceptional to look at with the flowers and the Colorado Rocky Mountain scenery. And I thought, God, this is great, and they're trying to get into the top 30. And now we have the Super Bowl, and it's a real letdown betting-wise. I mean, there's maybe only 5 or 6 guys that can really win this. Because of the staggered scoring system, the guys that start at even par that are 10 shots back, they know they can't win. They're here for pride, and they're trying to cash a check. And who in their right mind is ever going to bet on them? Then they have the markets where you can bet just who's going to have the 72-hole low score without the starting strokes. But then you've got motivational factors, like Justin Thomas, who just snuck into that 30th position. He knows he can't win. Am I going to bet him to have the 72-hole low score? No, not likely, because, again, how much is he pushing to quote-unquote win that market that they aren't even privy to? They're thinking about just finishing number 1, beating Scottie Scheffler, and 2/3, 75% of this field knows they don't have much of a shot. So the system is flawed. I think everybody knows that. Scottie Scheffler came out and talked about how this tournament is not right. How can you have everything for a season-long championship come down to one golf course that might not be as good a fit as it is for one guy as it is another? You've got Keegan Bradley, who wins in dramatic fashion last week, and congratulations to him. But now for a guy that has 1 win on the entire season and hasn't finished top 20 in 3 months, if he catches Scottie Scheffler and wins the FedEx Cup, is that right? It's not perfect. But this is what we have, and unfortunately it's anticlimactic. It's harder to bet on. I don't think there's as many bets that make sense. But all that being said, there is drama for about 5 guys this week. I mentioned Oberg. He's taken some action. He's got an outside shot. I think he's in the 6th hole, maybe 5 shots back of Scottie. Hideki Matsuyama's 3 shots back of Scottie. Again, the staggered scoring system, the starting strokes, if anybody's not familiar. It goes per where you sit in the standings in the FedEx Cup points. Scottie Scheffler, number one, he begins on Thursday already at 10 under par. When he puts a tee in the ground on that number one hole, he's already at 10 under par. Xander Schauffele, number two in the standings, he starts at 8 under par. Hideki Matsuyama, number three, he starts at 7 under par, and on down the list. And I think, I'm not so sure the guys that are 6 shots off the pace have a chance. They've got a slim chance. 5 shots off the pace, maybe. 4 shots off the pace, okay, probably you still have a shot. But again, it's unfortunate because you know how much we all love golf. We love the majors. I love the playoffs. It's unfortunate that this grand finale has, sucked out a lot of the drama and lost a lot of luster from what we've been through the past few months.
No, and to think about, my love affair for Rory, 6 back again. We've talked about the mental part of his game right now, and a big part of me says, he just can't wait till the season's over. He had a run. The U.S. Open is going to haunt him. That's what he'll remember most, obviously, in 2024, and we'll be getting all lathered up for Augusta and, the Rory Slam for the 11th year here, that it's been since he's won a major. Strategic, or are you nervous with Hideki withdrawing last week? He comes off the bronze medal in the Olympics. He wins the first leg of the 3 weeks here in the FedEx Cup, plays around and taps out. Are you more nervous, or do you think it was more strategic?
There's a lot of different ways to answer that question, I believe. And I've seen a couple of different opinions on it. For me, it felt strategic, like, okay, I'm not quite feeling right. Let's not push this, and let's get out of here and go to Atlanta and see if we can win next week and get healed up. I've also seen, we got out to a pretty darn good start. If you're out to a good start like that, then you must be pretty banged up if you pulled out, which I think makes sense as well. The other factor is Hideki Matsuyama has not been a monster at East Lake Golf Club. It's never been a course that he has done extremely well at. So, it all may be a moot point that he's just not a great fit for this particular golf course. So, we'll get to this a little bit later. I don't think he's the worst play you could make for, say, low 72-hole score. I don't know if he's going to be the guy that happens to overtake Xander or Scottie. I'm not sure anybody can. I really think that with the starting strokes, I think this is a 2-person race. If you're going to look at the markets without the strokes, Hideki is absolutely a player, but then we go back to your question. How healthy is he? What was that all about? And that's the unknown. So I think he's difficult to bet on. Maybe most importantly, what I talked about is he's traditionally not been a great fit for this golf course, whether he's healthy or not.
First week, we had a plus 400 on Xander to win it all here, which now I'm going to go to the current odds as we speak at the Circa. From Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens, thank you so much here. Scottie Scheffler plus 125. Always scary when the Circa gives you plus money on the best player in the world with a 2-shot lead. So a buyer beware there. That's just my thinking right now. Xander is now plus 210. Hideki plus 1400. Oberg plus 1750. Rory 2150. Morikawa 3500. Cantlay 4400. Keegan 3,700. Sam Burns, who had a great week last week, 4,100. What a Sunday he had. Wyndham Clark 6,300, and I'll just throw in Hovland at 7,300. Before we get your front stage for your selections today, anything jump out there at you?
Well, I can tell you it looks like Scottie is maybe taking a little bit of money because I believe earlier in the week he was plus 135. And it looks, and here's another thing I know. They're not writing a lot of business on that market. I spoke with Nick Bogdanovich earlier today as a part of my Prop Farm article that you'll see up at PGAtour.com under the heading of Golf Bet, where I talk with all the bookmakers. And I spoke with Nick, who is a great friend, a Hall of Fame bookmaker, and pays attention, is a great golf bettor, a good golfer. I've played a lot of golf with him, but he's very in tune to the golf betting markets, and he is an employee of Circa Sports. And so I asked him about, what's the action like for this event? And he said it's pretty light. It's not really, it doesn't really cater to the bettors because of what we just went over, the starting strokes, and it's, I think most of the professional bettors, certainly, which Circa caters to, the sharper bettors anyway, they're not really attracted to this outright market. They have been betting some head-to-head matchups. So knowing that there's not a whole lot of activity in the outright market, it's probably not taking a whole lot of money to move the needle. So they probably have a little bit of liability on Scotty, but it looks like everybody else's prices are being elevated. I saw Xander there at Circa earlier in the week as low as plus 180. I actually took plus 190, and now he's on the other side of 2-1. BetMGM has had him at plus 225 all week long, and I know they're getting a lot of activity on Xander. So it's just a really tough week to figure out. And what those numbers at Circa are telling me, I think they're pretty similar to what we were saying earlier, that I think it's a two-person race. You've got the best two players in the world that have a head start on everybody. Are they really going to be able to catch these guys? I don't know if they can.
And we also have to add the fact in that it's week 1 of college football. There's going to be a boatload of eyes on football on Saturday. So again, the diehard golf guys will be tuned in. If Scotty's got a 5 or 6 shot lead, most likely they'll be even watching Colorado and whatever. There, Brian Gaskell. Hello, boys. Just sweating out my 2 bullets in the underdog best ball final. Let's get hot. Yes, sir. Don't forget me either when you cash that 20K, Mr. Gaskell. It's a long fall here in Cape Cod here. So, yeah, we're changing gears here, as you and I talked about backstage, and we'll announce that later at the end of the show. But here, again, a tough week, as you said, with the scoring. To actually dig in and make some wagers here. But as we always do here, Brady, course evaluation and, of course, what you're looking at for some actual plays for this weekend's event.
Yeah, the course is, of course, East Lake Golf Club, where they play the Tour Championship every year. I think it's been about 17 years in a row ever since the inception of this is actually the 18th FedEx Cup Championship, when they came up with this playoff system and awarding the FedEx Cup champion and this and that and the other. And I think it's 18 straight years at Eastlake. They used to alternate the course, but this has been home for quite a while here, a Donald Ross design. Now, in the last year since we've been here, Andrew Green was brought in to do a massive overhaul and restoration of the golf course to try and we've seen a lot of this as of late, where you go back to these old designers, Alistair McKenzie and Donald Ross and some of the greats of the game that started out, in the design business. And now a lot of these guys, Gil Hance and Andrew Green, going back and trying to recreate that old charm that these original architects had in mind. And so Green's done that here with Eastlake. He's reshaped some fairways. He's reshaped some greens. He's created more of that traditional Donald Ross runoff area, those shaved runoff areas around the greens. He's moved some bunkers. He's added some bunkers. He's reshaped some bunkers. And he's changed the turf. It's minor to the casual observer. These are zoysia grass fairways and Bermuda grass greens, and he's changed the strain of zoysia grass and Bermuda. So that's for the real golf nerds out there. But basically, at the end of the day, it's still zoysia grass and Bermuda. But there are some changes. It's a pretty long darn golf course. It is now a par 71. They took one of the holes and extended it a little bit and turned it into a par 5. So it's a par 71 at just a shade less than 7,500 yards. That's pretty long. The Bermuda rough is pretty gnarly. I think scrambling is very key around here, out of that Bermuda rough. And again, with the Donald Ross design in those runoff areas, creativity is a big deal at these types of courses. So I think scrambling is really important. Obviously, strokes gained approach is important every week. And I also think par 4 scoring, because you've got 11 of them. and most of them are going to fall into that range of 400 to 450 yards. I think accuracy trumps distance off the tee. It is a beast of a golf course as far as length, so you've got to be relatively long, but I think accuracy probably wins out in that battle off the tee. And, you know, we talked about Xander Schauffele a little earlier. Xander Schauffele and Rory McIlroy, by the way. Rory McIlroy has won here 3 times. The only guy better than Rory McIlroy at East Lake Golf Club in the world is Xander Schauffele. If you just look at strokes gained on this golf course over the past 10 years or so, Xander is the best horse for this course. He's finished first once. He didn't actually win the FedEx Cup that year, you know, and that's when they said, okay, this is screwy. We got to change this, and they have. They're still tweaking this system. They haven't gotten it right yet, but we've seen Xander actually finished first and not win the FedEx Cup. He's finished runner-up 3 additional times. He's finished as the low 72-hole scorer both in 2020 and last year in 2023. He's been here 7 times. The worst he's ever done is finish 7th. So he's a machine at this golf course. Now, I know Andrew Green has been brought in to make some changes and try and bring back that original Donald Ross characteristics, but is that really going to all of a sudden make this course no longer a good fit for Xander? I don't believe that's true. It's going to change, sure, but I think he's probably still the guy to beat here from a horse for course perspective. Scotty's finished as high as runner-up here, but hasn't been as good. And he's come out and said, you know, that this course is not necessarily as good a fit for him as it might be some other people in this field. So we're getting a little bit of a different golf course this week, Jeff, but I think the skill sets that we're looking for have not changed.
Well, that time of the show here where we put you front and center and we get some of your plays and outrights. How's that sound?
Sounds good, my friend. And I will start with the, and these are not plays that I have made, but they have been, let's call them leans or recommendations. I talked about it earlier, how this is a very difficult tournament to bet. It's not my favorite tournament to bet. I've been saying for a month or so that I think Xander Schauffele is a great bet to win the FedEx Cup. And he was as high as 4-1, which is really a nice bargain. Now you can get him in the neighborhood of, 2-1 plus 225, something like that. And I still don't think that's a bad price at all. And by the way, I don't think the price on Scotty is all that unfair either. When you start to get into the guys deeper down the board, their chances dwindle with the starting strokes, and I don't think their price exactly matches up. I do believe this is a 2-person race. Now, that all being said, let's remove the starting strokes, and who is just going to shoot the low round, the low 72 holes for the week? We talked about this earlier. I don't know if it's going to come from too deep down the board because what's the mentality of those guys? They kind of know that they can't really win this thing. I did, point out a couple of long shots that I think could possibly have a chance. They fit with the correlated courses. They've been playing very well. And because they are rookies here, they don't know any better necessarily to just go out there and try and go as low as they can. They've been red hot players as of late, and that's Aaron Rai and Christian Bezuidenhout. Aaron Rai has had a phenomenal summer. He's got a victory under his belt. And, I think he checks a lot of boxes for what it takes at this golf course. Accuracy off the tee, iron play, get hot with the putter for 4 days, which we've seen him do over the course of this summer. He's 50-1 to win with no strokes attached, just the low 72-hole score. So you're getting a pretty nice price on a guy that I think makes some sense. And the same thing for Bezuidenhout. He penciled out in a lot of the stats I looked at this week, and he's in the neighborhood of 70-1 in that market. So if you want to take a flyer, a couple long shots in that market, I think those guys make some sense. Billy Horschel, who's won the FedEx Cup before, has done extremely well at this golf course. He's done extremely well at Sedgefield, just did so a few weeks ago at the Wyndham, which is another Ross design that I believe is correlated. Horschel's been, maybe the hottest guy in the world for the last month or two. You go back to Valhalla when he finished 8th. He's having a remarkable season. Finished runner-up at the British Open. So why not Billy Ho on a course there where he's done well before? Everything makes sense for him to be, again, the low 72-hole scorer, not to win the FedEx Cup. I think he's too far back. But he's in the neighborhood of 35-1. Victor Hovland won here last year. His game is, I mean, it's like this guy flips a switch when he gets to the postseason. So I think Hovland makes sense in the neighborhood of 15-1. And then we talked about Hideki in the neighborhood of 18-1. There's just question marks about the health. Obviously, the form appears to be very good. Started out very well at Castle Pines, won at TPC Southwind. But, will the back, lock up on him again? Was it just precautionary? We don't really know. And he hasn't played all that well. He hasn't been the best horse for this course at the Tour Championship in the past. So there's 5 guys, if you want to dabble in that without the starting strokes market, that made sense for me. But the one play I did make, and it's the one I've been talking about, Xander Schauffele. He is the horse for the course. He has won at correlated courses, which is TPC River Highlands. He's played very, very, very well at the Memorial, Jack's Place. I think that course has a lot of similarities where accuracy favors distance off the tee. Scrambling is huge. Okay, and Xander has had 3 top 15 finishes there and then just finished 8th there earlier this year at Muirfield Village. I mentioned he's won at TPC River Highlands. He's won at another correlated course that I used this week. Where is it here? See if I can find it. Troon. Royal Troon, where they just had the British Open. I think that is a similar golf course. You have to be able to scramble well. The layout is similar. You want accuracy over distance. Who just won the Open there? Xander Schauffele. He's one of the hottest players in the world. We've known that all season long. So, and we've already, outlined what a horse for this course he is, how many times he has been the low 72-hole scorer. He's actually never won the FedEx Cup, but he's been the low 72-hole scorer at this golf course 3 times. He's never finished worse than 7th. I think he's a better fit for this golf course than Scottie Scheffler is. I think it's only a 2-person race. I think it's going to come down to one of these 2 guys, and you're going to give me twice the price on a guy who is a better fit for this golf course. So give me Xander. That's where we're at as far as the bets. Xander is the play. The other ones I lean, more suggestions, what have you. And Jeff, I'll give you one more. If you want to get involved in the head-to-head matchup market, I think Shane Lowry over Sahith Theegala is one you might take a chance with. If you can find him at minus 120 or less, I think Lowry's a pretty good fit to beat Sahith Theegala in a head-to-head. Theegala's form has not been good, and I think this golf course is a really good fit for Lowry, who hits it accurate off the tee, can really get red hot with the irons, and has magic hands around the green as far as scrambling. So there's one little bonus head-to-head matchup for you as well.
Well, I can't wait. Super stoked. And I said something to a few colleagues last weekend watching the second part of this 3-week championship here, and it's almost like Scotty's just lying in the weeds, knowing he's coming here with the 2-shot lead. And I'm just thinking, if we see the real Scotty, what it's really going to take from a Xander, a Matsuyama, an Oberg, Rory, the list is endless, to actually win this thing. Scotty's been coasting the last couple of weeks, living the gold medal, and now this is, the season this guy has had. He wants to finish with 25 million reasons to hoist that cup.
There's no doubt about it. And like I've said many times, this guy, with whatever he comes up with as an encore, will not surprise me at all. I mean, it was unbelievable what he did at the Olympics. And could he pull it off again at a course that is not such a great fit for him? Of course. Yeah, I mean, in all my stats that I did it all week long, he and Schauffele are 1 and 2 across the board. And Schauffele's better in some areas. Scotty's better in some areas. They're 1 and 2. So again, from a betting standpoint, I see them as relatively equal, and you're going to give me twice the price on a guy that has been in the past a better fit for the golf course. So betting-wise, yeah, I think that's where I want to put my money. Am I, overwhelmingly confident about it? Are we always? Are we ever? Not when you're going up against Scottie Scheffler. And the guy's also proven when he comes off of a bad week, he typically responds with a victory, and we could be set up for that here. He didn't, like you said, I think he kind of coasted at at Castle Pines. I don't know how dead set he was on winning that. And that one is different because there's all different kinds of, adjustments that need to be made for elevation and altitude and, what have you. But, I think from a value standpoint, I see a little bit more value with Xander. But no, Scotty wouldn't surprise me in the least if he goes out and wins this. The other thing is, I think there's no question he answered that question with the comeback in France to win the gold medal. Scotty Scheffler is firmly, in my mind, the PGA Tour Player of the Year, and he's going to be voted as such. But Xander's kind of been that guy that's, plucking away and I got that major and I got that major and now I'm going to grab the FedEx Cup, just as an aside as well. I kind of see that as the way this season plays out. Scotty's been Scotty. He's going to be Player of the Year, but Xander wins the FedEx Cup.
So, and again, once Scotty did what he did, and then, of course, we added the gold medal, and historically that Sunday, what he did in the final round. If Xander wins 2 majors and the FedEx Cup, it's still a slam dunk, you think, for Scotty?
Yeah, I do. Because of the nature of this tournament, that it's not... I wrote this in my article for golf.com. If this was truly representative of the season-long points race and who is the season-long champion of the PGA Tour, this would be a 2-person match play event for 4 days between Xander and Scotty. Those are the 2 guys. Is there anybody else in the conversation for who's been the best? No, not at all. This wouldn't be a 30-person field. It'd be 2 guys battling it out, match play, stroke play, whatever they want to do. That's what I think it is. And everybody knows, I think, coming in that Scotty is absolutely the leader in the clubhouse for Player of the Year. And I think even because of this tournament being quirky and not necessarily being a perfect representation of the system they're trying to create, and I love what they're trying to do. It's just so hard to correctly award the quote-unquote Player of the Year with this playoff system and how it's currently construed. And I don't know the right answer. I'm not sitting here on the top of a soapbox saying they should do it this way because I don't know either. But I think people know that this system is flawed, and even if Xander were to win this, Scotty's probably likely to finish runner-up and they'll give him Player of the Year.
Well, the scroller's been going the whole time. Everyone knows on Twitter to find you at Las Vegas Golfer. They can find all your work at golf_com, golf bet, PGA Tour. Find you live on TV throughout the week and the weekend at Sports Grid. And now, of course, how we always finish, we turn it over to you because you also have a big show and podcast for the Circa contests that start in less than 10 days.
Yeah, we are very excited about that. The Las Vegas Football Contest show will come out every Friday night. We record on Friday afternoons, and it's myself and James Salinas, both former Westgate Super Contest winners, and then Mike Pritchard, a former #1 draft choice in the NFL, a 9-year veteran in the NFL. The 3 of us have done all kinds of football handicapping and broadcasting together, and now we've teamed up to do a show where we have each got an entry into the 3 major contests in Las Vegas: Circa Survivor, Circa Sports Million, and the Westgate Super Contest. And now we're going to do a show every Friday afternoon, kind of your last minute handicap before you submit your picks for whatever contest you're playing in, to get a little advice from a former player and a couple of former champions as far as contest play is concerned. And we're really looking forward to it. You can find it wherever you get your podcast, YouTube, you name it. Again, that'll come out on Friday evenings. And, of course, that'll be all over Twitter. Follow me at Las Vegas Golfer. I'll have all the announcements there. You mentioned the PGA Tour. The Prop Farm article should be up there now under the heading of Golf Bet. Golf.com, you can find my article that I wrote earlier in the week describing this golf course, a lot of what we talked about here today. And then, yeah, I'll be on Sports Grid a couple times coming up a little later this evening, once at 7:30 Eastern time tonight, and then again at 10 p.m. Eastern with Gabe and the Prime Minister, Mr. Cam Stewart.
And me and Brady talked backstage, and I will give the breaking news starting next Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, West Coast time. Brady will be headlining the morning show. It will still be Tea Time Wagers / we'll be talking NFL. We'll be talking Circa contests. Brady will be on from 11:05 till probably, we'll say 11:20 to 11:25. 2 weeks off on the PGA, correct?
Yeah, we take a break here. Obviously, this is the end of the season, the Tour Championship. They resume for the fall wraparound schedule, the fall FEDEX, whatever they call it. I can't really be sure. But we resume in Napa, in beautiful Napa, California, in a couple of weeks and get that fall schedule started. And then you take another 2-week break. And then the next event after that is the President's Cup in Montreal, Canada. So that'll certainly be something to take an eye at, or to take a look at, a competition that I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be especially good this year, taking place in Canada with Mike Weir, a Canadian, as the captain. A lot of Canadians I expect will be on that team. This could be a really enthusiastic effort from the international side, given all the connections to Canada this year. And then October and November are pretty much back to normal. We'll have a tournament every week in October, 3 out of the 4 weeks in November. We break at Thanksgiving, and then we pretty much don't come back until we hit Kapalua in January. And here with you at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, we'll, of course, talk about those golf tournaments, but also in the thick of the NFL schedule, we'll preview some NFL games. And like you said, update some contest play, both Circa and the Westgate Super Contest as well. Hopefully, our guys, in the show here, we're in the mix, and we're talking about our entry every week, Jeff.
Well, that was the plan behind the plan, Brady. We want to get you to Thanksgiving. We want to hear you sweat out how you kept the Lions or the Cowboys for Thanksgiving, and then you're going to, sneak through and then, of course, win again on Sunday. Don't forget, last Thanksgiving, I think about 45% of the pool saved the Lions against the Packers, and the Packers, that was Jordan Love's coming out party.
It sure was. Yeah, that did a lot of people in. I mean, there are landmines like that throughout the season. And you could have one week 1 with your Patriots, catching 9 points or so to the Cincinnati Bengals. A large percentage of the Circa Survivor players are going to be on Cincinnati in week 1.
Well, we can't wait. We're super stoked and excited. Of course, we got the Tour Championship here, and then back on Wednesday early to start a new not a new segment. We're just coming a little earlier in the morning, so you can have coffee and Danish with me and Brady and the rest of the team. So from myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Brady Kannon at Las Vegas Golfer. Shout out to Noah and Elijah. Great job as always. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you soon.